Maya had been training at the Phoenix Martial Arts Academy for almost 4 years now. Every morning at 6, she would walk through those familiar glass doors, bow respectfully to the photo of the founder hanging on the wall, and begin her daily routine. But Maya wasn't just another student. She was the Academy's pride and joy, the one everyone looked up to, the fighter who had never lost a single match. At 28 years old, Maya stood 5 feet 6 inches tall, with muscles that spoke of countless hours of dedication. Her black hair was always pulled back in a tight ponytail, and her dark eyes held the kind of confidence that comes from knowing you're the best at what you do. She had earned black belts in 3 different martial arts styles, and her trophy case at home was running out of space. The academy was buzzing with energy that Tuesday morning. Students were practicing their forms, the sound of feet hitting mats echoing through the large training hall. Maya was helping some of the newer students with their basic techniques when she overheard a conversation between 2 intermediate students. "I heard Chen from the downtown academy is looking for someone to challenge," one of them said while adjusting his belt. "He's been going around different schools, trying to prove he's the best fighter in the city." "Good luck to him," the other student laughed. "Nobody here is going to lose to some outsider, especially not with Maya around." Maya smiled slightly at the comment but didn't say anything. She had heard similar conversations before. Other schools would send their best fighters to challenge the Phoenix Academy, hoping to make a name for themselves. They all left disappointed. After the morning session ended, Maya was sitting in the small break area, sipping her protein shake and checking her phone. Master Kim, the head instructor, walked over and sat down across from her. He was a man in his 50s with graying hair and kind eyes, but Maya could see something was on his mind. "Maya, I've been thinking about something," Master Kim said, his voice carrying that serious tone he used when discussing important matters. "You've been undefeated for 3 years now. That's an incredible achievement, but I wonder if it's making you too comfortable." Maya looked up from her phone, slightly surprised by the comment. "What do you mean, Master?" "I mean that when you never lose, you never truly learn what it feels like to face real adversity. Every great fighter needs to experience both victory and defeat to grow." Maya leaned back in her chair, considering his words. She had always been naturally athletic, picking up techniques faster than other students, winning tournaments that others trained months for. But comfortable? She didn't think so. "I train harder than anyone else here," Maya said, not defensively, but as a simple statement of fact. "I'm always looking for ways to improve." Master Kim nodded slowly. "I know you do, but there's a difference between training hard and being truly challenged. When was the last time you felt genuinely worried about losing a match?" Maya thought about it for a moment. She couldn't remember the last time she had felt nervous before a fight. Even in regional tournaments, she approached each match with calm confidence, knowing she had the skills to win. "I understand what you're saying," Maya said finally. "But what am I supposed to do? Lose on purpose? That doesn't seem right either." "No, of course not," Master Kim chuckled. "I'm just saying that maybe you should be open to different kinds of challenges. There are many ways to test yourself beyond just fighting." That evening, Maya was still thinking about Master Kim's words as she practiced her forms alone in the academy. The building was quiet now, with only the sound of her breathing and the soft thud of her feet on the mat. She moved through her routine, with perfect technique, each movement flowing into the next like a carefully choreographed dance. As she finished her final form, Maya caught her reflection in the large mirror that covered one wall of the training area. She looked confident, strong, unbeatable. But Master Kim's words echoed in her mind. Was she really growing as a fighter, or was she just going through the motions? The next morning brought the regular Wednesday sparring session. Students paired up according to their skill levels, and Maya was matched with David, one of the more advanced students. David was a good fighter, technically sound and respectful, but Maya had beaten him easily in their previous matches. As they began their sparring round, Maya noticed something different about David's approach. He seemed more focused, more determined than usual. He was using techniques she hadn't seen from him before, mixing different styles in unexpected ways. For the first time in months, Maya actually had to think about her strategy. Still, the match ended as expected. Maya won by a clear margin, but something about David's improved performance stuck with her. After they bowed to each other, Maya approached him. "You've been working on some new techniques," she observed. "Where did you learn those combinations?" David smiled, slightly out of breath. "I've been taking some classes at another school on the weekends. Different style, different approach. I thought it might help me become a more complete fighter." Maya found herself intrigued by this idea. She had always focused on perfecting the techniques taught at Phoenix Academy, never considering that there might be valuable lessons to learn elsewhere. That afternoon, during the advanced class, Master Kim announced that they would be having a special sparring tournament the following month. Unlike their usual internal competitions, this one would be open to fighters from other academies in the area. "This is a chance for all of you to test yourselves against different styles and techniques," Master Kim explained to the assembled students. "Remember, the goal isn't just to win, it's to learn and grow as martial artists." Maya felt a flutter of excitement she hadn't experienced in a long time. The prospect of facing opponents she had never fought before, people who might bring different strategies and techniques, was genuinely appealing. As the class ended and students began filing out, Maya remained behind to practice a bit more. She was working on her footwork when she noticed David was also staying late, practicing the same new techniques she had seen him use that morning. "David," she called out, walking over to where he was training. "Can you show me some of those techniques you've been working on?" David looked surprised but pleased. "Of course, but I have to warn you, they're quite different from what we usually practice here. They focus more on grappling and ground fighting rather than striking." As David demonstrated the techniques, Maya realized she was seeing something completely new. These weren't just variations on familiar moves. They were entirely different approaches to combat. She tried to copy what David was showing her, but found herself struggling with concepts that seemed foreign to her usual fighting style. The first time in years, Maya felt like a beginner again. It was frustrating, but also strangely exciting. She was discovering that there were entire areas of martial arts she knew nothing about. As they practiced together, Maya found herself asking more and more questions. How did these techniques work against traditional striking? What were the advantages and disadvantages? Where could she learn more about this style? David was happy to share what he knew, but he was honest about his own limitations. "I'm still learning myself," he admitted. "The instructor at the other school is really skilled, but I've only been training there for a few months." Walking home that evening, Maya felt a sense of anticipation she hadn't experienced in a long time. The upcoming tournament suddenly seemed like more than just another competition. It felt like an opportunity to discover something new about herself as a fighter and as a person. She realized that Master Kim had been right about one thing. She had become comfortable, maybe even a little complacent. But now, for the first time in years, she felt genuinely curious about what she might learn next. 3 weeks had passed since Maya's conversation with Master Kim, and she found herself paying more attention to the other students at the academy. She watched how they moved, what techniques they favored, and how they approached their training. It was like seeing her training partners with fresh eyes. The morning sun was streaming through the large windows of Phoenix Academy when Alex approached her after the regular Thursday class. Alex was one of those students who never made a big fuss about anything. He showed up consistently, trained quietly, and always treated everyone with respect. Maya had sparred with him many times over the past 2 years, and while he was technically solid, she had never considered him a serious challenge. Alex was 31 years old, worked as an engineer at some tech company downtown, and had the kind of calm personality that made him easy to overlook in a room full of more aggressive personalities. He was about average height, maybe 5 feet 8 inches, with brown hair that was always slightly messy and glasses that he had to take off every time they sparred. "Maya, do you have a minute?" Alex asked, his voice carrying a tone she hadn't heard from him before. There was something different about the way he stood, a quiet confidence that seemed new. "Sure, what's up?" Maya replied, toweling off the sweat from her face after an intense training session. Alex glanced around the academy, making sure they had some privacy before speaking. I know about the open tournament Master Kim announced last month. I've been thinking about it a lot and I want to ask you something. Maya nodded, curious about where this conversation was heading. Alex had never been one to seek out extra challenges or make bold statements about his training. I want to challenge you to a formal match, Alex said, his words coming out steady and clear. Not just regular sparring, but a real match with rules and witnesses. Something official. Maya blinked in surprise. She had been expecting maybe a question about technique or advice about the upcoming tournament. This was completely unexpected. Alex, you know I'm always happy to spar with you, Maya said, trying to keep her tone friendly. We don't need to make it formal or anything. No, I mean a real challenge, Alex insisted, his eyes meeting hers directly. I know what you said a few weeks ago about wanting to face real adversity. I know you've been questioning whether you're still growing as a fighter. I think I can give you that challenge. Maya felt a mix of emotions. Part of her was touched that Alex had been paying attention to her conversations with Master Kim. Another part was confused about why he thought he could suddenly pose a serious threat when their previous matches had been so one-sided. Alex, I appreciate the offer, but you know how our sparring sessions usually go, Maya said gently. I don't want you to get hurt or embarrassed in front of everyone. Alex smiled at this, and for a moment Maya saw something in his expression that she couldn't quite identify. It wasn't arrogance or overconfidence. It was something quieter but more solid, like he knew something she didn't. I understand your concern, Alex said, but I've been making some changes to my training recently. I think you might be surprised by what I can do now. Maya studied his face, looking for any sign of the usual nervousness that students showed when they were getting in over their heads. She didn't see it. Instead, Alex seemed remarkably calm, almost serene. What kind of changes, Maya asked, her curiosity getting the better of her. Different techniques, different training methods. I've been working with some instructors outside the academy, learning styles that complement what we do here but approach fighting from completely different angles. This reminded Maya of her conversation with David about his weekend training. Maybe there was more going on outside Phoenix Academy than she had realized. Look, Alex, if you want to have a serious sparring match, that's fine with me, Maya said. But why make it formal? Why do you want witnesses and rules? Alex was quiet for a moment, seeming to choose his words carefully. Because I think this match is going to be different from anything either of us has experienced before. I think it deserves to be treated with the proper respect. There was something about the way he said it that made Maya take him more seriously. Alex had always been thoughtful and deliberate in everything he did. If he was asking for a formal match, he must have a good reason. Okay, Maya said finally. If you want a formal challenge, I accept. But I have to ask you something first. Do you remember what I said about whoever defeats me? Alex nodded slowly. I remember exactly what you said. You said that whoever could defeat you in fair combat, you would acknowledge as your superior in all things. That you would follow their guidance without question. That's right, Maya confirmed. Are you prepared for that possibility? Because once we make this official, those words become a real commitment. I understand completely, Alex replied without hesitation. And yes, I'm prepared for that possibility. The question is, are you? Maya felt a small chill run down her spine. There was something about Alex's confidence that was starting to make her genuinely curious about what he had been learning in his outside training. When do you want to do this? Maya asked. Next Friday evening, after the regular classes end. That gives us both a week to prepare mentally and physically. Maya extended her hand and Alex shook it firmly. All right, Alex. Next Friday it is. I hope you know what you're getting yourself into. I hope you do too, Alex replied with that same mysterious smile. Word about the challenge spread through the academy faster than Maya had expected. By the next morning, it seemed like every student knew about the upcoming match between Maya and Alex. The reactions were mixed, ranging from excitement to concern to outright disbelief. Are you serious about this? David asked Maya during their warm-up routine. Alex is a nice guy and all, but he's never shown the kind of aggression or killer instinct that you need to compete at your level. That's what I thought too, Maya admitted. But there's something different about him lately, have you noticed? David considered this for a moment. Now that you mention it, he has seemed more confident recently. And I've seen him staying late to practice techniques I don't recognize. Master Kim approached Maya later that day with a concerned expression. I heard about your match with Alex next week. Are you sure about this? He challenged me formally, Maya explained. I couldn't refuse without looking like I was avoiding competition. Besides, isn't this what you were talking about? Finding new ways to challenge myself? Master Kim nodded thoughtfully. I suppose it is. Just be careful, Maya. Sometimes the most dangerous opponents are the ones who surprise you. As the week progressed, Maya found herself paying more attention to Alex during classes. She watched his footwork, studied his techniques, tried to figure out what he might have learned that could possibly give him an edge against her superior speed, strength, and experience. What she noticed was subtle but significant. Alex moved differently now with a fluidity that hadn't been there before. His balance seemed better, his transitions smoother. He was using techniques she didn't recognize, movements that seemed to blend different martial arts styles in ways she had never seen. During one group exercise, Maya deliberately paired herself with Alex to get a better sense of his current skill level. What she discovered both intrigued and slightly unsettled her. Alex was definitely improved, though she still couldn't imagine how those improvements could be enough to threaten her dominance. The night before their match, Maya lay in bed thinking about the upcoming challenge. She realized that for the first time in months she was actually nervous about a fight. Not worried about losing exactly, but curious about what would happen. Alex had managed to create genuine uncertainty in her mind, and that was something no opponent had done in years. She found herself wondering what Alex had been learning, who had been teaching him, and whether she had somehow underestimated not just him, but the depth of knowledge available outside her familiar training environment. Tomorrow would answer all of those questions. Friday evening arrived faster than Maya had expected. The regular classes had ended an hour ago, but the Phoenix Academy was far from empty. Word about the formal challenge had spread beyond just their school, and students from other academies had come to witness what many thought would be a predictable victory for Maya. The main training area had been cleared and prepared like a proper competition space. Master Kim had set up official timing equipment, and 2 other black belt instructors from nearby schools had agreed to serve as judges. What had started as a simple challenge between training partners had somehow become the martial arts event of the month. Maya arrived early, as she always did before important matches. She needed time to warm up properly and get into the right mental state. As she stretched and practiced her forms, she could feel the eyes of the gathering crowd on her. Some faces were familiar, others belonged to people she had never seen before. Quite a turnout, Master Kim observed, walking over to where Maya was doing her final preparation routine. I haven't seen this many people here for a single match in years. Maya nodded, trying to keep her focus on her breathing and movement. Alex really wanted this to be official. I guess he got his wish. How are you feeling? Master Kim asked, his tone carrying the concern of someone who had watched over her training for years. Honestly, more nervous than I expected, Maya admitted. I keep trying to figure out what Alex thinks he knows that I don't. Sometimes the best strategy is to stop trying to figure out your opponent and just fight your own fight, Master Kim suggested. You've been undefeated for 3 years because you're an exceptional martial artist. Trust in that. Alex arrived, exactly on time, carrying a simple gym bag and wearing the same calm expression he had maintained all week. He looked neither nervous nor overconfident, just focused and ready. Maya watched him as he set down his bag and began his own warm-up routine. What she saw confirmed her observations from the past week. Alex moved with a fluidity and precision that seemed different from the training partner she thought she knew. His warm-up included stretches and movements that looked like they came from completely different martial arts traditions. Ladies and gentlemen, Master Kim announced to the assembled crowd, Tonight we have a formal challenge match between two dedicated students of martial arts. Maya Chen, our Academy champion and 3-year undefeated winner, and Alex Rodriguez, who has requested this formal challenge. Maya felt her heart rate increase slightly as Master Kim continued explaining the rules. It would be a 5-minute match with standard safety equipment, judged on technique, control, and overall performance. Both fighters had agreed that this was a serious competition, not just friendly sparring. "Fighters, please approach the center," Master Kim called. As Maya walked to the middle of the mat, she noticed how quiet the academy had become. 40 or 50 people were watching in complete silence, waiting to see what would happen when these two very different fighters faced each other. Alex met her at the center, and they bowed respectfully to each other. As they came up from there, Maya looked into Alex's eyes and saw something that surprised her. There was no doubt there, no fear, just a calm certainty that made her realize this match might not go the way everyone expected. "Ready?" the head judge asked. Both fighters nodded and took their fighting stances. Maya settled into her familiar position, balanced and prepared to use her superior striking skills. Alex took a stance she didn't immediately recognize, something that looked like a mixture of different styles. "Begin." Maya started exactly as she always did, using her speed and reach advantage to control the distance between them. She threw a series of quick strikes, testing Alex's defenses and looking for openings. To her surprise, Alex didn't try to match her aggression or engage in the kind of striking exchange she was used to. Instead, he moved in ways that seemed to flow around her attacks rather than blocking them directly. When she threw a punch, he would shift his position slightly, letting her strike pass by harmlessly while setting himself up for what came next. For the first 2 minutes, Maya felt like she was winning. She was landing more strikes, controlling the pace and demonstrating the technical superiority that had made her unbeatable for so long. The crowd seemed to be responding as expected, with some people already looking like they thought the match was effectively over. But Alex didn't look defeated. If anything, he seemed to be studying her, learning her patterns and timing with each exchange. Maya began to realize that he wasn't just defending randomly. He was deliberately allowing her to establish her rhythm so he could understand it completely. Then something changed. Maya threw a combination that had worked successfully against hundreds of opponents. A quick jab followed by a strong cross punch and finishing with a knee strike. It was one of her signature sequences, perfectly timed and executed. But Alex wasn't there when her strikes arrived. Instead of trying to block or counter her combination, Alex had somehow moved his entire body in a way that made all of her attacks miss by inches. Before Maya could recover her balance, she felt Alex's hands on her arms, and suddenly, the fight had changed completely. Maya found herself being pulled off balance in a direction she hadn't expected. Alex had somehow gotten control of her center of gravity, and she was moving whether she wanted to or not. This wasn't the kind of striking battle she was used to. This was something completely different. Within seconds, Maya realized she was on the ground, with Alex controlling her position in ways she had never experienced. She had trained in basic ground fighting, but this was far beyond anything she had learned at Phoenix Academy. Alex moved with the same calm precision on the ground that he had shown while standing. Every time Maya tried to get back to her feet, Alex seemed to anticipate her movement and counter it smoothly. She found herself in positions she didn't understand, facing techniques she had never encountered. Maya's superior strength and conditioning, which had always been advantages in striking contests, seemed less important now. Alex was using leverage and technique to control her movements, and she couldn't figure out how to escape or counter what he was doing. The crowd had gone completely silent. Everyone had expected to watch Maya dominate another opponent with her striking skills. Instead, they were witnessing something nobody had anticipated. Maya struggling against techniques that looked like they came from a completely different martial art. Maya tried everything she could think of. She used her flexibility to attempt escapes, her strength to try to power out of Alex's control, her speed to look for openings. But Alex seemed to have an answer for everything she tried. Then she felt it, Alex's arm sliding around her neck, from behind, setting up what she recognized as a chokehold. Maya had seen this technique demonstrated before, but she had never been caught in one by someone who really knew how to apply it. Maya tried to defend, grabbing at Alex's arm and trying to create space. But Alex's technique was too precise, too well practiced. She could feel her air supply being restricted, and she knew she had only seconds to escape or the match would be over. Maya struggled with everything she had, using all her strength and experience to try to break free. But Alex's position was perfect, his technique flawless. Maya felt her vision beginning to blur slightly as the chokehold tightened. For the first time in her competitive career, Maya realized she was about to lose. The thought hit her like a physical blow. After 3 years of victories, hundreds of successful matches, and a reputation built on being unbeatable, Maya was facing the reality that she had met someone whose skills exceeded her own. She had two choices: continue struggling until she passed out, or accept defeat gracefully. Maya tapped Alex's arm twice, the universal signal of submission in martial arts. Immediately, Alex released the hold and moved away from her. Maya lay on the mat for a moment, breathing heavily and trying to process what had just happened. The academy was completely silent. Nobody seemed to know how to react to what they had just witnessed. Maya slowly sat up, looking around at the shocked faces in the crowd. Then she looked at Alex, who was sitting nearby with the same calm expression he had worn throughout the entire match. Maya stood up slowly, walked over to where Alex was sitting, and did something that surprised everyone in the academy, including herself. She knelt down and bowed deeply to him. "Master," Maya said, her voice carrying clearly through the silent academy. "What would you have me learn first?" 6 months had passed since that life-changing Friday evening at Phoenix Academy. Maya stood in front of the mirror in her apartment, adjusting her black belt for what would be her first tournament since her defeat to Alex. But this wasn't the same Maya who had dominated competitions for 3 years. This was someone completely different. The regional tournament was being held at the city's largest martial arts facility, with competitors coming from schools across 3 states. Maya had competed here many times before, always as the favorite to win. Today, she was entering as someone with something to prove to herself more than anyone else. Alex had driven her to the tournament, something that would have seemed impossible to imagine just months earlier. As they pulled into the parking lot, Maya felt a familiar flutter of nerves, but it was different now. Instead of the pressure to maintain her perfect record, she felt excitement about testing everything she had learned. "How are you feeling?" Alex asked as they gathered their gear from the back of his car. "Nervous, but good nervous," Maya replied honestly. "For the first time in years, I feel like I'm going into a competition to learn something, not just to win." "That's the best mindset you can have," Alex said with a supportive smile. "Win or lose, today is about seeing how much you've grown." The tournament facility was buzzing with activity. Competitors were warming up, coaches were giving last-minute advice, and families were claiming seats in the spectator area. Maya recognized many of the faces. Fighters she had beaten before, instructors she had known for years, and competitors who had always viewed her as the benchmark for success. What Maya noticed immediately was how differently people reacted to her now. Instead of the mixture of respect and intimidation she was used to seeing, people seemed genuinely curious about what kind of fighter she had become since her defeat. "Maya Chen," called out Master Harrison from the downtown academy. "I heard you've been working on some new techniques. Looking forward to seeing what you can do today." Master Harrison had always been friendly but cautious around Maya, knowing that her students often struggled against Phoenix Academy competitors. Now he seemed genuinely interested in her development, rather than worried about potential defeats. Maya's first match was against Jennifer, a strong fighter from the suburban academy who had always given her competitive battles. In their previous encounters, Maya had won through superior striking and better conditioning. Today would test whether her new skills could work under tournament pressure. As Maya stepped onto the competition mat, she felt Alex's presence in her corner. Having him there as her coach was strange but comforting. 6 months ago, she would never have imagined needing a coach for a regional tournament. Now she was grateful for his guidance. "Remember what we practiced," Alex said quietly as the referee called for the fighters to bow. Use your striking to set up opportunities for your new techniques. Don't force anything. Just let the openings come naturally. The match began with Maya using her traditional striking game, but with a completely different purpose than before. Instead of trying to overwhelm Jennifer with aggressive combinations, Maya was being patient, looking for the specific opportunities she and Alex had practiced. When Jennifer threw a strong punch that Maya slipped instead of immediately countering with strikes, Maya moved in close and attempted one of the control techniques Alex had taught her. It didn't work perfectly. Jennifer was able to defend and create distance, but Maya had successfully mixed her old skills with her new knowledge. The first round ended with Maya winning on points, but both fighters had shown good technique and control. As Maya returned to her corner, Alex was already analyzing what he had seen. "Good adaptation," Alex said, offering her water and a towel. "You're using your striking to set up grappling opportunities, just like we practiced. Jennifer is starting to respect your close-range game, which is opening up your traditional techniques." Maya nodded, feeling more confident about her approach. The second round went even better, with Maya successfully completing a takedown that led to a dominant position on the ground. When Jennifer tried to stand up, Maya controlled the transition smoothly and maintained her advantage until the round ended. Maya won the match decisively, but more importantly, she had successfully integrated her new skills under competition pressure. As she shook hands with Jennifer, her opponent made an interesting comment. "You fight completely differently now," Jennifer said with genuine respect. "It's like facing a totally new person. Your game is so much more complete than it used to be." Maya realized that Jennifer was right. 6 months ago, Maya had been excellent at one type of fighting. Now she was becoming truly well-rounded, comfortable in striking range in close quarters and on the ground. Maya's second match was against a fighter she had never faced before, someone from a school known for its grappling expertise. In the past, Maya might have been concerned about facing an unknown opponent with a different skill set. Now, she felt prepared for whatever challenges arose. The match turned into exactly the kind of mixed-range battle that Maya's old fighting style would have struggled with. Her opponent was skilled at closing distance and initiating grappling exchanges, but Maya was no longer helpless once the fight moved away from pure striking. When her opponent shot for a takedown, Maya was able to defend intelligently and counter with techniques Alex had taught her. When they ended up on the ground, Maya didn't panic or just try to stand up immediately. Instead, she worked systematically to improve her position and look for opportunities. Maya won the match, but the victory felt different from any she had achieved in her undefeated streak. This wasn't a win based on superior natural ability or better conditioning. This was a win that came from knowledge, strategy, and skills that had been earned through dedicated learning. As the tournament progressed, Maya continued to impress both herself and the spectators with her evolved fighting style. She reached the finals where she faced Lisa, a fighter who had been specifically training to challenge Maya's traditional striking game. Lisa had clearly studied video of Maya's old fights and had developed a strategy based on Maya's previous patterns and preferences. What Lisa hadn't prepared for was the fighter Maya had become under Alex's guidance. The final match became a showcase of how much Maya had grown as a complete martial artist. She used striking when it was advantageous, grappling when the situation called for it, and transitioned smoothly between different ranges and techniques. Maya won the tournament, but as she stood on the podium receiving her gold medal, she realized that the victory meant something completely different than her previous tournament wins. This wasn't about maintaining a perfect record or proving her dominance. This was about validating months of hard work, learning, and personal growth. Alex was waiting for her as she stepped down from the podium, and Maya did something that surprised everyone in the facility. She walked directly to Alex and bowed formally, presenting him with her gold medal. "This belongs to you as much as it belongs to me," Maya said loudly enough for nearby people to hear. "Thank you for teaching me what it means to be a complete martial artist." Alex accepted the gesture gracefully but immediately handed the medal back to her. "You earned this through your own dedication and hard work. I just helped you discover skills that were already inside you." The drive home from the tournament was filled with reflection and planning. Maya had proven to herself that her new approach to martial arts was effective, but more importantly, she had discovered a passion for learning and teaching that she had never experienced during her undefeated years. "I want to help other people experience what you've taught me," Maya told Alex as they discussed the day's events. "There are so many fighters who limit themselves to one style or approach, just like I did." "That's an interesting idea," Alex replied. "What did you have in mind?" "What if we started our own school? Somewhere that teaches people to be complete martial artists from the beginning, instead of having to learn different styles separately." Alex was quiet for a moment, considering the possibilities. "That would be a big undertaking. Are you sure you're ready for that kind of responsibility?" "I'm sure," Maya said without hesitation. 6 months ago, I thought I knew everything there was to know about fighting. Now I realize that was just the beginning. I want to help other people avoid making the same mistake I made." 6 months later, Maya and Alex opened Fusion Martial Arts Academy in a renovated warehouse across town from Phoenix Academy. Their approach was revolutionary for the local martial arts community. Instead of focusing on one traditional style, they taught students to be comfortable in all ranges of combat from day one. Maya became the head striking instructor, while Alex led the grappling program. But more importantly, they team-taught classes that showed students how to blend different techniques and strategies seamlessly. The Academy's motto, painted in large letters across the main training wall, read, "True mastery begins when you discover how much you still don't know." Maya still called Alex master during formal training sessions, honoring the commitment she had made that night 6 months earlier. But their relationship had evolved into something much richer than a simple teacher-student dynamic. They had become partners in creating. 8 months had passed since that Friday evening that changed everything at Phoenix Academy. Maya woke up early on Saturday morning, looking at herself in the bathroom mirror as she prepared for her first tournament since Alex had defeated her. The person staring back at her looked the same, but everything else had changed completely. The state championship was happening at the biggest martial arts center in the region. Fighters from dozens of schools were coming to compete, including many people Maya had faced before during her undefeated years. Back then, she would arrive knowing everyone expected her to win. Today felt totally different. Alex was picking her up in an hour to drive to the tournament together. 6 months ago, the idea of Alex coaching her would have been impossible to imagine. Now she couldn't think of anyone else she would rather have in her corner. Maya made herself breakfast and thought about how much her daily routine had changed. She used to spend hours studying videos of her upcoming opponents, looking for weaknesses to exploit. Now she spent that time practicing the new techniques Alex had taught her, focusing on becoming a more complete fighter, rather than just finding ways to beat specific people. When Alex arrived, Maya grabbed her gear bag and headed outside. She had packed everything differently now. Instead of just her usual striking equipment, she had gear for ground fighting and grappling practice. Her bag was heavier, but it represented all the new skills she had learned. "Ready for today?" Alex asked as they drove toward the tournament venue. "More ready than I've felt in years," Maya replied, and she meant it. "I'm not worried about winning or losing anymore. I just want to see how well I can use everything you've taught me." Alex smiled at her answer. "That's exactly the right attitude. Today isn't about proving you're still the best fighter. It's about proving you've become a better martial artist." The tournament center was packed when they arrived. Maya recognized tons of familiar faces, competitors she had beaten before, instructors from other schools, and spectators who followed the local martial arts scene. What surprised her was how differently people reacted to seeing her. Instead of the nervous respect she was used to getting, people seemed genuinely curious about what kind of fighter she had become. Several instructors came over to chat, asking about her training and what new techniques she had been working on. "Maya, good to see you competing again," said Master Thompson from Valley Academy. "I heard you've been learning some interesting new approaches to fighting. My students are excited to see what you can do." Master Thompson's comment was typical of what Maya heard from multiple people. Instead of viewing her as a threat to be worried about, People seemed interested in her growth as a martial artist. It was a completely different feeling from her previous tournament experiences. Maya's first match was scheduled against Carla, a tough competitor from Westside Academy, who had always given her challenging fights. During Maya's undefeated streak, their matches were usually close, with Maya winning through better conditioning and slightly superior striking techniques. Today would test whether her new skills could work under real tournament pressure. As Maya walked to the competition mat, she felt completely different than she had during any previous tournament. Alex was standing in her corner, ready to coach her through the match. Having a coach felt strange at first, but now Maya was grateful for his guidance and perspective. "Remember what we've been practicing," Alex said quietly as the referee prepared to start the match. "Use your striking to create opportunities for your new techniques. Don't try to force anything that isn't there. Just fight your own fight and let things develop naturally." Maya nodded and took her position. When the referee signaled the start of the match, Maya began with her familiar striking game, but everything had a different purpose now. Instead of trying to overwhelm Carla with aggressive combinations like she used to do, Maya was being patient and strategic, looking for specific opportunities she and Alex had practiced hundreds of times. When Carla threw a strong right hand that Maya slipped to the side, instead of immediately countering with her own strikes, Maya stepped in close and attempted one of the control techniques Alex had taught her. The technique didn't work perfectly because Carla defended well and created distance, but Maya had successfully mixed her old skills with her new knowledge. The first round ended with both fighters having shown good technique and sportsmanship. Maya was ahead on points, but more importantly, she felt comfortable and confident about how she was fighting. As she returned to her corner, Alex was already analyzing what he had observed. "Excellent work," Alex said, handing her water and a towel. "You're using your striking to set up grappling opportunities exactly like we practiced. Carla is starting to respect your close-range game, which is actually opening up more opportunities for your traditional techniques too." Maya felt her confidence growing. The second round went even better than the first. Maya successfully completed a takedown that put her in a dominant position on the ground. When Carla tried to get back to her feet, Maya controlled the transition smoothly and maintained her advantage until the round ended. Maya won the match by a clear margin, but the victory felt completely different from any win during her 3-year, undefeated streak. As she shook hands with Carla after the match, her opponent made a comment that really stuck with her. "You fight like a totally different person now," Carla said with obvious respect in her voice. "Your game is so much more complete than it used to be. It's like facing someone who knows how to handle any situation that comes up." Maya realized that Carla was absolutely right. 8 months ago, Maya had been excellent at one specific type of fighting. Now she was becoming truly well-rounded, equally comfortable whether the fight stayed standing, moved to close quarters, or went to the ground. Maya's next match was against someone she had never fought before, a competitor from a school known for producing excellent grapplers. During her undefeated years, Maya might have been worried about facing an unknown opponent with a completely different fighting style. Now she felt genuinely prepared for whatever challenges might arise. The match turned into exactly the kind of mixed-range battle that Maya's old fighting approach would have struggled with badly. Her opponent was skilled at closing the distance and starting grappling exchanges, but Maya was no longer helpless once the fight moved away from pure striking. When her opponent attempted a takedown, Maya was able to defend intelligently and counter with techniques Alex had taught her. When they did end up on the ground, Maya didn't panic or just try to stand up immediately like she would have before. Instead, she worked systematically to improve her position and look for her own opportunities. Maya won this match too, but the victory felt different from any she had achieved during her undefeated streak. This wasn't a win based on superior natural athletic ability or better physical conditioning. This was a win that came from knowledge, strategy, and skills that had been earned through months of dedicated learning and practice. As the tournament progressed through the day, Maya continued to impress both herself and the people watching with her evolved fighting style. She reached the finals where she faced Rachel, a fighter who had been specifically training to challenge Maya's traditional striking-based game. Rachel had clearly studied video footage of Maya's old fights and had developed a strategy based on Maya's previous patterns and preferences. What Rachel hadn't prepared for was the fighter Maya had become under Alex's patient guidance and instruction. The final match became a showcase of how much Maya had grown as a complete martial artist over the past 8 months. She used striking when it gave her an advantage, grappling when the situation called for it, and transitioned smoothly between different ranges and techniques based on what was working in each moment. Maya won the tournament, taking home the gold medal for the state championship, but as she stood on the podium receiving her award, she realized that this victory meant something completely different from her previous tournament wins. This wasn't about maintaining a perfect record or proving her dominance over other fighters. This was about validating months of hard work, learning, and genuine personal growth. Alex was waiting for her as she stepped down from the podium with her medal, and Maya did something that surprised everyone in the facility. She walked directly to Alex and bowed formally, then tried to present him with her gold medal. "This belongs to you as much as it belongs to me," Maya said loudly enough for people nearby to hear clearly. "Thank you for teaching me what it really means to be a complete martial artist." Alex accepted the gesture gracefully, but immediately handed the medal back to her with a smile. "You earned this through your own dedication and hard work. I just helped you discover abilities that were already inside you." The drive home from the tournament was filled with reflection and planning for the future. Maya had proven to herself that her new approach to martial arts was effective under pressure, but more importantly, she had discovered a passion for learning and teaching that she had never experienced during her undefeated years. "I want to help other people experience what you've taught me," Maya told Alex as they discussed the day's events and what they meant. "There are the run